My name is Matthew Nichols, and today I'm performing the 2024 and 25 Florida All-State Mallet Prepared piece for 11th and 12th grade. Now, this piece was a lot of fun to perform, and I hope you enjoyed my performance. But before you go, I wanted to give you a couple of tips and tricks, things that I found helpful while learning this piece along the way. The first thing I want to say is make sure you've got the right mallet for the job. Now, I have chosen the Vic Firth M124 Robert Van Cise series mallet. This is a mallet that is one of my go-tos because I'm allowing myself to play with a lot of dynamic range, and because of the nature of this mallet that has a harder core with a wrapping that allows me to either play lightly and not dig into the core or play with more force and dig into the core, I have a full range of articulation inside my dynamics. And so this mallet has worked really well for me, but ultimately whatever you have in your stick bag or whatever you can find that gets the job done is going to be your best choice. So once you have your mallet selection ready to go, now you want to dig into this piece, and this one is definitely a challenge. I noticed that I was finding myself becoming inaccurate on the arpeggios, and I was finding myself wanting to negotiate with the tempo as things got a little confusing. So the first thing that I want to recommend to you is worry about your body position when you're trying to focus on accuracy. There's a lot of arpeggios that run throughout these couple of octaves that the piece is performed in. And the tricky thing about that is, on any other instrument that doesn't have to worry about distance, they can just kind of glide through. For instance, this is a piece written for the violin, and they can play arpeggios across strings, whereas for us, that jump from string to string could be a foot away. So make sure that you're centering yourself over the arpeggios. I noticed as the group of arpeggios rose higher in pitch, my body would move as well. Sometimes we have to play out of our center just to reach that one outlier, but simply that's just an outlier. We don't need to worry about always playing away from our center. So double check that your body position's in the right place if you're having trouble with any of the accuracy through here. Now, another thing is definitely take one measure at a time when we're going through these arpeggios and practice them. If you can, do a little bit of analysis to say, okay, what are the notes of this arpeggio, and is that an arpeggio that I play when I practice my 12 major scales? Or if I'm learning any minor scales, is that a minor arpeggio that I might be able to practice away from the piece so I can get comfortable with the layout? Doing stuff like that's going to make learning this piece faster and hopefully a little bit more comfortable. Now, there's a lot of dynamic ups and downs, and because of the time period in which this was written, we don't have a lot of dynamic information other than piano, forte, and crescendos. We do have a mezzo piano with a crescendo, and something like that is helpful, but again, we don't see that enough in this piece to really have a lot of that super specific detail. And oftentimes that was something that was interpreted by the performer in that time period. So make sure we have contrast between our forte and our piano, but know also that we're not trying to over-exaggerate our fortes and do something that might become maybe a little excessive as far as exaggerating the dynamic, but we definitely need to make sure that we can bring it low enough in our softest and bring it full enough in our fortes. And the last thing I'll say is listen to a violinist perform this. Go back and find it. This is the last movement of a sonata, so there's a lot of information that's happened ahead of time, and you think about where the performer would be if they're going to perform the full sonata, okay? And the end of this piece is the end of the entire piece. So you noticed in my performance, I took the instruction from the page that says to retard on the second time, and I took that because we don't take the repeats for this performance, and I want to treat this like it is a finale. So I did take that note from there, and there were other places where I might have given a little bit more fullness right before because this is the last thing that's being stated in the performance. So context is very helpful when we're learning a piece like this, not just simply knowing the notes and rhythms and dynamics, but understanding, okay, where is this from and what can I do to show that I know that? So I hope that this has been helpful for you today. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. And I wish you all the best as you go through and learn this piece. And I wish you all the best as you continue to prepare for your All-State audition.